Hey, Armin here. Welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show, where we cover training, nutrition, supplementation strategies, and a whole lot more. So stand by. Hey, and welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
Hey, I'm Frank Mills. Welcome to the show. Whether you're watching or listening, thank you for joining us today. We've got a terrific show lined up for you and some pretty interesting information later in the show as well. But today, Armin and I will be talking about artificial sweetener that may make your blood stickier, causing heart attacks and strokes. Whoa! Wow. Okay.
That's what the study says. So.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about that. And also we've got your fan questions and topics in the second part of the show. So look forward to finding out about this. And also I've got a little NSP news. So, I'm going to, we'll talk about that. But Armin, this is quite a topic. Where did this come from?
Well, you're going to see a lot of it in the press and other media. So, because I've already seen it myself, but I saw it on the Science Alert, some media there, and since the sweetener is a so-called healthy product, I'm like, okay, I learned about it, and I thought, well, this would be something that people, would want to know about. So we're going to go over what the study talked about, but also, things that how you want to approach it for your own personal self regarding what we learned. So
okay. Well, I guess the first thing that I want to know along with everybody else is, what is the name of this sweetener? Is it a common one? Is it something that everybody knows about?
I don't know if it's super common, but I mean, it's in a lot of stuff, but it's called erythritol. It's a natural occurring sweetener. So that's one of the things that's pretty interesting about it, but it's called erythritol. And again, you'll see this all over the media. Everybody that's on YouTube and other things are commenting on it too.
Right.
So we're going to give you our take as far as, what we learned.
Okay. So that being said, now that we know it's erythritol, and we know what the studies are showing, I guess next question is, where is it? What type of products would typically contain this sweetener? So we know what to look for. I mean, I think we should look for it anyway, but I'm just curious if you knew of kind of, some target areas.
Okay. Well, one thing is erythritol was approved by the FDA in 1999. So it's been around from that period of time. But it's a common ingredient in a wide range of, different foods and also beverages. So you would see it in any kind of, you'll see it in sugar-free chewing gum. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Baked goods like cakes, cookies, and breads, you're going to see it there. Candies and chocolate. So then you're talking about it's utilized for processed food. Ice cream, frozen desserts, jams and jellies, they put it in that. Different soft drinks, and the other one is energy drinks. So that's something else that people may want to really learn more about. Sports drinks. Okay, so they're in that, along with your electrolyte supplements, which is pretty interesting. Then protein bars. It's a pretty big market there. And then the protein powders. So you want to read your labels. And then sauces and dressings, along with the cereals. The cereals have them, and then granola. So it's in a lot of stuff, but you got to read the labels to find it. So, but you'd be surprised.
Well, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of things that it's included into.
It's in a lot of stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, you mentioned it being linked to heart attacks and strokes. Now, according to a study, how is this, and can you get into detail with that, please?
So in the article, it talked about a physician scientist. His name is Stanley Hazen, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, and his
Okay.
colleagues at the Cleveland Clinic, the Lerner Research Institute, they wanted to see if they could find any of the anything that uh, had signs that could help warn people if they were at greater risk of a heart attack and
Okay.
stroke. So they're looking for something like that. And what they were finding is in the blood levels of organic compounds used as sweeteners,
Right.
specifically erythritol was the one they noticed a lot of based on the study. And this is based on the study, so you got to go with that. A sweetener commonly, the erythritol is used as a low sugar or sugar free uh, and low carb type of sweetener. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the advantages of it. And the other advantage is it doesn't raise your insulin. So sounds like pretty good news, as
Hmm.
far as the components of it.
Right.
But
Right.
what they found among the group of it was 1,157 patients that they were undergoing the tests on uh, at the cardiovascular clinic, those with the highest levels of these compounds in their blood ended up having twice the risk of dying from a heart attack or experiencing a heart attack or stroke, not necessarily
Oh.
dying, but having a cardiovascular event.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was 3 years after they started following these people and monitoring, from what I understand, monitoring them. Now, one thing I do want to
Mm-hmm.
say is these people also were not healthy people in general. They had
Right.
cardiovascular risk disease. But what you got to take into account on that is these people were using this because they didn't want to raise their insulin, and some of them were diabetic, so they didn't want to improve that, to make their diabetes worse. So that's why it was being used and recommended for these people. So
Right.
that's
Right.
another thing that you got to kind of keep in mind. That I
Hmm.
mean, these weren't super healthy people either.
Right. Well, that's a lot of interesting information. I'm curious exactly where does it come from, Armin?
Well, again, erythritol is it's really a naturally occurring sugar. It's a sugar
Ah.
alcohol. All right, and it's found in fruits and fermented foods, uh, but it's not. You're not. People aren't getting that kind of erythritol. They're getting the commercially made erythritol. All right, so
Oh, okay.
there you go. Man is making the product, and it's produced by fermenting corn or wheat starch and using a specific strain of yeast or fungi to make the sugar grow. And so that's what people don't really realize. But after it ferments, the erythritol they purify it and it's crystallized, and it results in a white granular type of powder that looks like sugar. So there you
Mm-hmm.
go. Okay, makes sense. But one of the things, because erythritol is naturally occurring in some foods, including like melons and grapes and mushrooms, it can be extracted from these food sources, but that's not where they're getting it from. So if they were pulling from that, it might be a different story. Hard to say, but that's not where they're getting it from. And the erythritol that's in these natural occurring foods is very, very small. So there you go.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I'm curious, what exactly are they saying about artificial sweeteners then, Armin?
So what they're thinking is that it's chemically inert when they analyze it.
Okay.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. But scientists are finding that these low, it's a 0 calorie, low calorie compounds are not necessarily free from having health consequences. You would think because it's inert in way it affects the body wouldn't be a health problem. That's why it got approved, obviously, by the FDA. But while naturally present in very small amounts in fruits and vegetables, which are not really small, the levels of sweeteners like erythritol that they were finding, and then these are extreme cases, these aren't the normal cases, but it was to be 1,000-fold um, compared to what you would normally get. So, it's 1,000 times higher than is put in processed food. So that's a shocker. So in other words, people are actually consuming way more erythritol because if you're eating it 2-3 times a day or several
Right.
days a
Right.
week, it's going to build up in your system because you're getting a lot of it. So
Right.
that's what they're realizing. So the research shows that these artificial sweeteners like this, they can also muck up your microbes in our gut. So that's going to affect your digestion. in a way that can lead to additional weight gain and diabetes, and also increase in the risk of developing cancer, because when you have a lot of sugar in your system, the cancer grows with it. So that's another reason why you got to manage your sugar intake. Now, again, that's what studies are saying.
Right,
So
right,
you can just see that, okay, like anything, you can't have too much of anything, period, no matter what it is, no matter how
right.
good it. I mean, just like water. You drink way too much water, you're gonna have a problem from that too, because of what it does to your system.
Absolutely. So, I'm sure a lot of us, of the folks out in the audience, are thinking the same thing as I am. What were the actual details of the study then?
So what they found is a link between the levels of erythritol in the blood and the future risk of heart attacks and strokes.
Mm-hmm.
So an association, guilt by association, has appeared that two other cohorts of nearly 3,000 people combined from U.S. and Denmark were impacted by this. Okay, so this led Hazen, the science doctor we talked about, and his colleagues
Uh-huh.
to investigate the potential mechanisms by which erythritol might increase your risk with the lab studies and blood using blood samples, which were taken from small groups of, and these were groups of 8 healthy volunteers at a time. So they were
Mm-hmm.
doing that. And so what they were finding is the blood erythritol levels peaked and remained high for 2 to 3 days. In other words, the body just doesn't clear this out very well. And so because of that, when it remained high, for that period of time, um, it didn't return to normal like 2 to 3 days. So that's usually not a good sign. If your body can't clear it pretty quickly, um, then there's definitely going to be a problem.
Right,
So,
right.
uh, so adding erythritol to whole blood samples also increased blood stickiness, and this is where they were monitoring the blood and looking at it, and they noticed it was a lot stickier. Okay, which that's why the article came out. Like, well, if it's stickier, then it's going to be. It was being linked to blood clotting, and similar effects
Right.
we're seeing in animal studies and also human studies. So it goes, at least to some level, to showing how consuming high levels of artificial sweeteners could possibly trigger and cascade a change of events in your blood that could lead to cardiovascular events. So these are assumptions that are made based on what they saw in the lab work and then monitoring the blood. Now, does this mean this is absolutely the case? Does this mean that that's okay? This is for sure. Not necessarily, but it isn't good if you're consuming a lot of it. So that's the key
Right.
point I want to make. If you start checking your foods that you're eating and you see a lot of erythritol, we're suggesting you may want to relook at that.
Right, right. Well, you know, Armin, this is kind of scary thing. I mean, blood clots. Yeah, that's not good. I'm curious what your thoughts are all on our boy. Curious what your thoughts on all of this really are. I mean, this is kind of crazy.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, there's a lot of products out there that like seed oils and other things aren't really good
Yeah.
for you, but they're touted to be good for you. Okay,
Hmm.
because the reason they're touted that way because they've been put in products that they want you to consume. So that's why.
Absolutely.
But since they mentioned it was in protein products, I mainly went to NSP and looked at all of our products, the protein and all that, and to see if we had any erythritol, because I didn't think we did, but I'm like, let me just double check. And we don't in any of the products that we have. So that's a good news. I mean, we're not big on
Yes.
sweeteners anyways with the products. NSP is more like straight up, here it is. It's not
Right.
going to have a lot of ton of flavor. We're not into, we don't go that route
Right.
because
Right.
simply it's not going to be to the advantage. So that was good news. But the RL did go on to say that there needs to be more testing, which obviously I agree. Since this came about, they need to do a little more checking to see if this is really a serious problem. Because again, the people that are consuming this are the people that are compromised because they're trying to have less sugar. This is
Hmm.
what it's supposed to help you do,
Right.
and they're consuming a lot of it, or maybe consuming a lot of it, and they have no idea that it may be having adverse effects. And so that's what really is the thing. Okay, well, what am I going to do for myself? And so,
Right.
like for people that one I did notice is that for people who do the Atkins diet, you know, that stuff's in a lot of the sugar alcohols are heavily loaded in the Atkins diet. So if you're somebody that eats a lot of Atkins pre-made processed food, which I don't like, then you may want to rethink it, especially if you're having 2 or 3 bars a day or a couple of bars a day and things like that. So that's the
Right.
whole point I want to make is bring it to your attention, decide, is this something that I really need to be taking, or do I need to be looking at it more natural? Again, natural food is always your winner, but people like the convenience of having something that's already made and it tastes sweet, et cetera. And that's what erythritol does. It helps with the sweetness, the help with that sugar fix.
Gotcha. Wow. Well, a lot of great information. We are running out of time. Any final thoughts here on all this information?
Well, I just want to bring it to your attention. So based on a list of products that contain erythritol, I would look to make some changes since there really isn't a ton of apparent benefit. Okay, the only thing it's doing is giving you a sweet taste. So maybe
Right.
you look at another
Right.
alternative, or again go with natural food, because you just don't know if it is going to lead to future health issues. Maybe it doesn't make your blood stickier, but what if it does? So that's what these studies are going to make you question it. And if it's questionable, I'm not so sure you want to keep playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is becoming more and more apparent that anything that's processed food is just plain toxic, in my opinion. It's just
Right.
there's no food benefit to you. So I would scrutinize every label, in my opinion, and which I've been doing it for years, anyways, and then decide if you want to consume that product or not based on that scrutiny. But
Right.
just don't
Right.
believe the food companies either. Maybe they've said, "Oh, there's no problem with it," and is that really the case? Because once they put it in, they're committed. Otherwise, it's going to create a lot of problems for them on the product to sell it. So,
Right.
anyways,
Right. Well, a lot of great information, and I'm going to start looking at some of the labels in my house. That's for sure. You got me.
yeah,
Uh,
you'd be surprised.
yeah, yeah. Well, stand by for a quick word from NSP Nutrition. Armin and I will be right back.
Hey, and welcome back to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
Hey, I'm Frank Mills, and as promised, we've got some news about NSP Nutrition. Now, if you're on the site as regularly as Armin and I are, and you're buying supplements to help enhance your nutrition plan or your lifestyle, as we do, I would encourage you take a look at. Got a couple of new products. Ultra Collagen Complete is now
Good
on.
product.
I'm excited about that. We also have collagen gummies. For those of you who are not tablet swallowers, I guess. But
Well, it's capsules
oh,
on the
okay,
collagen.
okay. So Armin, I also saw on the website new product incoming with a little half label peeling. They're doing a reveal here soon, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I want to disclose that just yet because of they're rolling it out. But
Right.
yeah, it's going to be a good complement to another product that we're not going to be able to keep. So it's going to actually replace that. But it's got a lot of sound ingredients to it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, everybody, if you have a chance, check out nspnutrition.com for not only the products that, hey, we've suggested and recommended several of them, but, NSP stands for naturally sourced products.
Yep.
And that's why Armin and I do what we do. We believe in the product, and it's helped enhance our lifestyles, our lives, our families and friends. And we just try to put this out there for you as well. All right. So let's get on to the next part of the show. Armin, when we started the segment of our fan questions, sometimes it's fan topics, sometimes it's fan, a fan summary of things.
Okay.
But we've talked about a lot of different things, and we got a pretty interesting question from a gal named Melinda. She doesn't say where she's from, but
Okay.
we appreciate the question, Melinda. She asked, guys, I've been on the websites of multiple supplement companies.
Mm-hmm.
And is there any such thing as a bad supplement or taking too many supplements that it could harm your system? And I thought that was a great question.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, you got to do some research before you take a supplement and understand, how it's going to affect you. So, and we try, NSP, we try to explain everything about the benefits of the supplement. And you want to keep that in mind is like, do you need to be taking that based on what your goals are, or what your, what your situation is, maybe health wise. So, there's anything, if you take too much of it, like we mentioned earlier, even taking water too much can be a problem. So the thing with supplementation is trying to understand, okay, I'm going to take this supplement because of these reasons and using it as appropriately as you can.
Right.
So, and so that, and then that's what we comment on certain supplements as well. But yeah, you want to do your homework and you want to decide, okay, is this something I need to take? And sometimes you may want to work with somebody like me or another expert in the area of what supplements are good, or just do your own research and then
Mm-hmm.
make your determination from there. So yeah, she is correct. I mean, you want some supplements can affect your system negatively, and you got to
Absolutely.
understand that. Especially if you're taking medications, there could be
Mm-hmm.
some reactions that could occur from that. So, and we can't let have time get into those kind of mechanics, but that's what I would do, and I would recommend that to everybody else is understanding, when you're supplementing, what's your purpose, how long do you feel like you're going to need to do it, and is there a way to check to see how it's affecting your system, like have some lab work done, so it can show that way too. So hopefully that provides some answers.
Armin, that's you actually said exactly what I was thinking is how can you take a supplement if you haven't done blood work to know what your body needs a supplement for? So that
Well,
makes perfect sense to me. So I think you're right on target with that, and highly encourage everyone to, you know, kind of do that due diligence before you start doing and heading
yeah,
down the path of investing in your body. Make sure you're getting what you need. It's kind of like putting brand new tires on a car that has new tires. What do you want to do that for,
yeah.
right?
Well, the exceptions would be like protein powder and beef liver. Those are things that help the
Gotcha.
performance and to help supplement, protein that you may not be able to get due to scheduling and things. So there's reasons for that. But again, that's to supplement, not to replace.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep those things in mind.
I gotcha. Well, Melinda, thanks for the question. We appreciate it. We got another one from Oscar. I'll just say Oscar L. I can't pronounce his last name. It's
Oh,
a very long.
okay.
Oscar, I'm sorry, but you know who you are. Oscar's asking about avocados, Armin. We're
Okay.
seeing a lot of commercials about avocados, about how
Mhm.
important they are for the diet. You're seeing on other commercials for either all kinds of restaurants or recipes,
Yeah.
uh, all different types of things. Guacamole seems to be a very popular thing right now. Um,
Yeah.
Again, Oscar's asking the same thing. I love avocados. I eat anywhere from 1 to 3 a day.
Mhm.
My wife was telling me I shouldn't be eating so much of those. That it could be bad for me? Is there such a thing as eating too much avocado and it being bad for you?
Well, here's the thing: when you're eating real food, it affects your system in a way that it kind of corrects it. So in other words, how many avocados do you think you can eat in a day? Well, if you're eating three, I don't think you're going to eat three every single day, because it fills you up quite a bit.
Right.
So, you may have a very good appetite, but there's a lot of great nutrients in it. Would you need three a day? No, but he was probably hungry, and it's probably the most he's ever had in a day. And it depends on how big the avocados are, because you can get small avocados, and you get, the Florida avocados are huge, man. They look like they weigh like a pound and a half. So there's
Uh-huh.
variations
Right.
of avocado. But no, I mean, when you eat, it's like this: you can only eat so much meat, so to speak, and you're stuffed. Okay. And it's the same thing with any kind of a vegetable. You can eat so much of it. And it's like, okay, I'm done. I don't want any more. So your leptin
Right.
hormone typically is engaging that and says, hey, okay, we've had enough. So I think your body, in this case, self-regulates how much of that you're going to consume. Avocados are high in fiber. They got a lot of nutrients in them, a lot of, 10 times the potassium of a banana. So if you're looking to get more potassium in your system, they're great for that. And again, you get tired of the taste of anything if you eat way too much of it, in my opinion. So
Right.
I just think it's a self-regulating thing. So I wouldn't really sweat it. I mean, I wouldn't, based on what
Gotcha.
I know about it.
Well, hopefully that helps. I mean, I freaking love avocados, so I have a
Yeah.
hard time with that. And
I've had two or three in a day.
yeah, oh
Not very
yeah.
often, but I've had it. So, but I don't eat them all the time either because, I have a certain taste bud for that stuff.
Right.
Guacamole. If we make guacamole, then I'm going to enjoy that. But yeah, I just think it's
Absolutely.
any type of real food you're eating, it's self-regulating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like them on my burger, so hey,
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
really good. Yeah.
All right. So next question, pretty interesting here. We had done a show, Armin, about mental toughness, and we've
Mhm.
talked about this multiple different times. How you can set yourself up for success, whether it's your workout
Right.
plan, your nutrition plan, work, a relationship. Mental toughness, you have to be able to comprehend and prepare yourself mentally for your
Yeah.
workout, for anything that you have going that day. A lot of us do it when we're driving to work, right? Or
Yeah.
um, if we have an event planned at like 6 o'clock, you mentally try to prepare yourself to gear up for that event.
Mhm.
And it was kind of interesting. We got an email from another gal, which we have some gals watching the show, and we appreciate that.
Okay.
Um, her name is Latrinda, and Latrinda is talking about watching our show, and she said it
Okay.
really made me reflect about how I prepare not only for my day but for my week.
Mm.
Am I really
Oh yeah.
doing all I can do to set myself up for success? Because she goes, she'd have 2 good weeks and then 2 or 3 bad weeks, right? And then a good week and then 4 bad weeks. So and she
Mm.
really did some self reflection after watching the show and felt that her preparation and her mental toughness, her mindset was wrong. It was bad. So she
Ah.
started meditating. She took a half an hour every morning when she gets up. She normally jumps in the shower and does her thing, right?
Mhm.
She decided to get up a half hour earlier,
Mhm.
and first she makes her coffee. After she gets her coffee, then she meditates for 30 minutes. Then she goes to take a shower, does all her stuff.
Mhm.
She said that extra 30 minutes for her to take for herself in peace and quiet and meditate was the best thing that she's ever done. It helps her mindset for the whole day.
Mhm.
She's getting proper sleep because she's
Oh, okay, good.
focusing on herself mentally. And she says it has helped set her approach for success on her workout, on preparation for her nutrition plan, everything. She said it's kind of put everything together to where now she's on track 6 weeks in a row and
Oh,
she's all
awesome.
excited. So she says, thank you for the show, for the
Mhm.
mindset, the mental toughness.
Oh, wow. Well, I've heard good things about meditation. I don't indulge on it like other people do.
Mm-hmm.
It's something it's actually on my radar. I'm thinking more about it because when you meditate, you're just clearing your head,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously is a good thing, to get all the, baggage and things that you had to deal with for the day or yes, the day before, that kind of thing. So I'm a big fan of it. It's just that I'm not executing it myself right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, I may end up doing the meditation in my mind that I don't realize I'm meditating because of the way I kind of prepare things. But That's good news. I mean, I think if anybody, if you find something like meditation and helps clear your head, you're going to be more productive. Go for it. Keep pushing it, and good to know. But and if it also helps your mindset, then you definitely want to keep doing it because you're going to get more done, and you're going to feel good about yourself. Like she obviously feels good about herself now with being really consistent. So that's great.
Well, the thing that was pretty interesting about her email, and she had a great point of view, was we talk a lot about our workout and recovery and how important our recovery is. She says the only time that you can really recover for your brain is when you sleep. And even when you sleep, your brain is active. So she said, true. When is the recovery for my brain? I need to give it some recovery. So her meditation, she's treating as her recovery for her brain, for her mental attitude. Good. And I don't know, pretty smart. So thank you for the feedback, Latrinda. We appreciate it very, very much. And we're glad it was able to help. That's why we do what we do. And that's why we ask for the content that we do all the time. Right, Armin?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's good. But that's good for people. We can share this with people and they go, oh, okay. And it gives them something else to include in their day or to find some relief, to de-stress. And so obviously it's working for her. And that's what people need to learn about these different things. And then they can make a decision if it's something they want to incorporate in their lifestyle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, thank you for all the questions. If you have a question, a topic, or something you'd like us to cover for next week's show, just scan the QR codes above our heads, comment on YouTube, or you can email us at support@nspnutrition.com. Armin, another great show. Thanks so much.
Well, hopefully people got some takeaways and they can make some adjustments in lifestyle to keep things in a positive note and make life living longer. So
absolutely. So everyone, thanks again for watching or listening, and join Armin and I next week for a brand new episode of the NSP Nutrition Show.
Hey, thanks for checking out the NSP Show. Go to nspnutrition.com where you can find a whole heap of resources to help you achieve stunning definition and eye-popping levels of muscularity. Don't forget you can save 10% on your first order by using the code NSP Show at the checkout. Catch you next time.